We are really excited to have you joining us today for Alumni Takeover Week. My name is Scott Rappaport. I'm an associate director in the Career Center at St. Joe's. And throughout this week, we have invited alumni to join us for conversations about their careers, to give you different insights into career paths and industries, and give advice on how to enter and thrive in these fields. Our guest today is Tobi Akinyelure, Partner Management Associate at AMC Networks, where he manages strategic partnerships in the entertainment industry. Tobi graduated from St. Joe's with a degree in business administration and marketing and has gained diverse experience in project management, event production, and marketing. He's interned with organizations like the Greater Philadelphia Film Office, the SJU Career Center, showing his commitment to both professional growth and community involvement. I also consider him to be a good friend, and it was great working with him when he was here. I'm really excited to have Tobi joining us today. So we will go through some questions ahead of time, and then if you have anybody who's attending, you can always put questions into the Q&A because we want to make sure that we're really paying attention and getting answers for you on what you want to hear from Tobi. So Tobi, welcome. Um, can you start by telling us a bit about your current role, some of the core responsibilities, and what a typical day looks like for you?
Totally. And thank you for that welcome, Scott. Likewise, I consider all of you people, my community and home, and great memories and experiences being in the Career Center. So it's good to be back. Yeah, so I'm currently an associate, a partner management associate with AMC Networks. I started the company around like 18 months ago. So I started and I came in as a coordinator level. And it was a curated role. They wanted the coordinator position to be somebody who optimizes and streamlines workflows across some of our different initiatives. I was recently promoted around like January, December to an associate. So the role is very similar, but it just encompasses like a greater partner portfolio kind of overview. So like a day-to-day for me is creating a lot of decks these days, creating a lot of like Excel spreadsheets. And I'll just walk it back a little bit. We work with all of our distribution partners on my team. So that essentially involves every single partner or party where our content is distributed. So if you were to watch some of our content on a Verizon network, if you were to watch it on a Vizio TV, if you were to watch it with Apple, those are all of our distribution partners, and we meet with those people regularly to map different initiatives and promotional offerings. So if you were to get our app for a discounted rate of like $5.99 versus $6.99, that's some of the stuff that our team worked on. If you were to see a poster for one of our shows on a Verizon TV or a Vizio TV, that's some of the stuff we work on. So day to day for me is mapping out all of the initiatives that we work on across all of our partners, and then also looking at it from a strategic lens and identifying different ways that we can be a little bit more efficient, a little bit more smart, and just get our content out there better for consumers to watch. So that's the day to day for me, putting a lot of decks together for my boss, presenting a lot of decks, and just really focusing in on strategic perspective of how we can just operate better in the business.
All right, so Tobi, I wanna break this down even a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
um, at home, I have an LG TV,
Yep.
and it has it's a smart TV, so it has a suite of different apps that come with it. I also have a Roku on there.
Yeah.
Can you talk me through, like, I know sometimes I go onto the Roku, and at the top there's content there that just kind of shows up. Is that
Yeah.
some of the content that you're kind of working on? Like, can you take us through that just
Yeah.
a little bit more?
Totally. Totally. And thank you for giving me an example. So Roku and LG would be our two partners that we currently work with. Our apps are available on both of those platforms. So those would be regarded as our distribution partners. So essentially when you open a Roku TV or you have the Roku stick and you plug it in or whatever, if you see content on that top carousel, those are featured promotions that Roku works with different content partners. So we're like AMC Networks, we're their content partner to decide who gets that top carousel promotion. Of course, as a consumer and as a company, we want our content to be featured front and center for everyone to view it. We want the highest level promotions. We want you as a consumer to be able to open your Roku device, open whatever device it is that you watch content on, and immediately notice our content because that makes us money. So that's essentially how those relationships work across any different platform, whether you're on LG, whether you're on Apple TV. Every partner has a specific way of curating how that environment looks. If you're in Netflix, you see that front row, and then you see your continue watching, you see your recently watched, you see sports and news, and you just see a bunch of different rails of content. So our job as the partner management team is to essentially negotiate some of those different placements for our content. And just like I said, again, make sure that the consumer is thinking about AMC Networks top of mind all the time, because that's where the money comes in. You watch our content, we make money. We get ad revenue on some of the different platforms if it's a specific ad tier. And that just basically means like you buy our subscription service and you have ads with it. So we also make money on the ad revenue on that side of it as well.
So television has truly changed since even probably 5 years ago, and how
Yeah.
people watch it and how companies are able to make money doing it. Yes, and you're a big part of now solving that for a company like AMC.
Yeah,
Okay, so
very much so.
Toby, tell us, like, how did you come to pursue this career? What were you thinking when you were maybe a senior and about to graduate? And then how did this come to be?
I don't know what I was thinking. As you said, I worked in the Career Center. I worked for the Office of Marketing and Communications, doing some video work for them. So I think as a senior, I really just wanted to find a job. I think I was kind of forward in attending all of the events and, uh, going to all the opportunities that the university awarded me, like the career fairs and all of those things. So I was really just focused on getting a job, any job, specifically in entertainment. So Scott, I know we had a lot of conversations around like goals to move to California and work at an entertainment company. So I was really throwing my hat in all of the buckets, all of the rings. I was reaching out to anyone I knew who knew of anyone else so that I could just get any opportunity in the entertainment industry. This specific role came about from I think my uncle forwarded me the link, and then he said he knew of somebody who knew of somebody at the company. So it was very much a networking based opportunity that I was able to find there. And then I was just like, okay, partner management, that sounds like something I could do. I don't know. Um, but it seemed to be like a very relationship forward role. And I knew that I liked working with people. I liked talking to people. So yeah, that was that. I applied for it and they saw some of my internship experience. They saw some big names like NFL Films. And I think that just that entertainment alignment, in addition to just what they felt I offered, and I think my level coming into the company, they felt that I was just more capable of working with partners from day one. I think they saw that in me, and that's how this came to be. But it definitely wasn't planned at all. It felt like a random occurrence. And funny enough, I'll say I started the job exactly 3 months from graduation. And in every day from graduation, I was like complaining to my mom, like, I don't have a job, I'm useless, what am I going to do? But 3 months out, if looking back now, I had a job and everything was fine. So goes to show, just don't stress about it, maybe, and just keep putting your foot forward in the places that you see fit.
Yeah, I think when we're in a job search, be it a student or later in your career, it can feel very heavy when you're in it. And then good things all of a sudden happen and you're employed and you look back a little while later and you're like, wow, I just wish I knew it was going to work out this way. So I don't think it's uncommon, what you just said. You mentioned the internship at NFL Films. Can you talk a little bit about what you did there and how you think that helped you in your current role? And if I remember correctly, there were some differences there, yes?
Yeah, totally. So the NFL Films internship was creative production based. So I was doing a lot of editing for them, a lot of logging for them, which is essentially just looking at a ton of footage that they filmed throughout the week, and then just like cutting it up into smaller pieces for the actual editor and then just putting a naming code to it. So it was very much a creative position, more so of what I had mapped out for my career post undergrad. Um, but regardless, I think it still helped me to get this job because, for one, it was an entertainment company. AMC Networks is also an entertainment company. It exposed me to that 9 to 5 workflow as well. So I think it was probably my first, like, that's not true. Maybe like my first full-time entertainment company experience as well. So I had that on the resume. But yeah, it was very different from this current role, which is more strategy, business, marketing focused, where I feel like I've been leaning more on my degree and like my class experience, in-class experience versus that creative sort of aspect and work that I did with NFL films. But great experience still, and I think it'll help me in the future as well when I want to transition more back into that creative space when I'm actually editing projects.
What surprised you about the current role that you're in?
A lot surprised me about the current role. I'll say one thing, and I think I also learned about this during my internship experience, was just the the corporate structure. I think there's a lot of nuances, a lot of kind of, I say, like dances that you have to do in a corporate environment in terms of just how you present yourself for one, how you engage with people, how you engage with partners. I think I did a lot of that learning day one in terms of how I'm interacting with both my coworkers and both our external partners. But yeah, I'll say that's the biggest surprise, just how you need to carry yourself in different environments and how you need to learn how to manage different cross-functional relationships and just be an overall more collaborative person. Whereas I feel like I'm an introvert and I can want to be by myself, but a lot, and I'll just, like, most of the projects that I do require me to talk to at least 3 different people on 3 different teams every single day. So it's just stretching myself in that way, but knowing that it's what the job requires. So, man.
That's great. And I think I mean, what you just said is something that I think you have to kind of be working in a full-time role to start seeing some of those things. And until you're in them, I mean, that's why there are entry-level roles, right? And it's getting them and starting and moving through them because you're going to learn all the things that you just mentioned. So, yeah, that's good to hear. Um, Toby, can you talk a little bit about your organization and your kind of dedication and how you demonstrate a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, so I think, and it's an interesting time. All of the news around DEI initiatives and everything that's going on in the world, but I think AMC Networks has been good about continuing to pour into their employee resource groups. So those are just essentially groups for employees that belong to a specific ethnic group or community. So I'm a part of was it Vibe, so it's vested interest in Black employees. So I just attend those events, and I think, as a Black person, as a person in that community, I just do my part to be around that environment, to pour into younger people who are coming into the company today. So new coordinators, new associates, new managers, interacting with those people, sharing my honest, authentic experiences working at AMC Networks as a Black man. So just all of those things. I think to answer your question, it's just like a day-to-day coming to work as my authentic self is kind of how I support that.
That's great. And Toby, a few minutes ago, you mentioned that uh, you know you networked in a way into this role. Can you talk about networking tips, how it's helped you maybe a little bit more in depth, and then how you think it will impact you moving forward?
Yeah, specifically, I'll speak to just the entertainment industry. I don't know of many people who are able, specifically even at AMC Networks, who are able to get their current position without networking, without reaching out to somebody, without emailing somebody. There are just so many resumes that hit the stacks these days for an application. So, and also before they even post a role on a LinkedIn, they're sourcing internal referrals. So, we recently had like two different manager positions open up on my team. And as soon as we knew that they were coming, everybody in the team was like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? So they're going to source those internal pools before they ever even put it out into the world. So I think networking is just like an integral part, specifically to the entertainment industry, but to any working environment, because it allows you to compete with those internal parties rather than compete with like the thousands of people who are applying on LinkedIn. But I continue to do it. I'm going to continue to do it in the future just through cold emails, through my uncle who sent me this one, through you guys, through anyone who you ever meet. And I think that's why it's just important to continue to build authentic and honest relationships with people because when you're able to speak to what you love and what you want to do with your life, and people believe you and they see that in you, I think they're more able to connect you with the right folks and connect you to the right positions in life. So I think it just comes naturally as you make genuine connections. So I think everybody on campus is doing it now by attending these webinars, by going to events, just connecting with people and putting yourself out there.
So I know when you were a student here, we told you that LinkedIn is important and it will become even more important when you're in the workforce. Have you found that to be true with networking and how are you using LinkedIn?
Yeah, I've sent quite a bit of cold messages on LinkedIn using like the in-mail feature. I do wish, and I don't know if this is something you guys do, give out like free premium memberships to LinkedIn. That would be cool. And if you have one, please give me a code. But yeah, LinkedIn is incredibly important. Not just for reaching out to people, but I think kind of and I've been trying to get more into this, using LinkedIn to network yourself, just speak about your accomplishments, kind of toot your own horn in that way. I'm not very good about that. Even like my recent promotion, I think most people go on LinkedIn and they announce, hey, I just got promoted. These are my new responsibilities. But I think as people see that, right, they say, oh, this person is growing at this company. Maybe they'll be good for that. Maybe they'll be good for that. So I think in my head, the idea is to really build a profile for yourself where other people can connect you to other positions. So we continue to grow as a kind of community and everybody can find a role where they just feel valued.
Yeah, I wish I had free LinkedIn Premium to to pass out.
I had to
We
ask.
Yeah, it's a good ask, but we're paying for it here. So,
Okay.
um, Toby, what's something that you wish someone had told you when you were in school? Is there a piece of advice you wish you knew?
Working at the Career Center, Scott, working under you, Danielle, Aaron, I mean, you guys probably told me all of the tidbits. I think it's kind of just believing them. One of the bigger ones, and I feel like Scott, you were good about this, is telling me specifically like not to stress about it, like it'll come when it comes. You have the skills to find the role that you want. I just didn't believe it. I think I was very much just stressed every day, specifically post graduation, doubting myself, doubting all the work that I've done. So I think the biggest tidbit is really just to trust in everything that you've done throughout your undergraduate years, to trust where you want to go, to trust in what you see for yourself, and then just kind of keep working towards it. But no, I think I had all the tidbits. I think I was doubting myself, but.
Well, I mean, and I think that that's helpful for a student to hear, right? When you think like, okay, if I go back to that space when I was getting close to graduating, I was doubting myself, right? And even if people told me not to, um, I think having youth on your side is always helpful also, right? You can weather some storms that might come your way. So I think hearing that is definitely helpful. Um, can you talk about some experiences that students should engage in while they're in school to help them prepare if they wanted to get into a field either very similar to you or even a little bit broader, just in the entertainment space?
Yeah. So when I was on campus, I think probably like my one of my first internships was with the Career Center. And then I later, realized some of like my video production aspirations. So I was in one of the many St. Joseph's University like marketing campaigns. Um, And then on one of the shoots, I think I went up to Daniel Moretz, and I don't think he's there anymore, but he worked for the Office of Marketing Communications. I mean, I essentially just said like, hey, like I'm interested in video production. Is there any way that I could offer help for free? And they're like, yeah, we do need help. Like I think it was like a team of just one at the time. It was just him, but I essentially just went up to him. I talked to him, and I was able to get an internship in that office, and that's where I learned how to edit. That's where I learned how to shoot videos, wider, larger campaigns. If I go to like St. Joseph's University Instagram, I can say like I edited this and this and this. So, um, specific to the entertainment industry, I would say the Office of Marketing and Communications is a great place to start. I think they'll probably never turn down help, even if you just want to be like an on talent sort of feature, or if you want to work behind the scenes. I think that's a great place to start on campus. That's kind of where I leaned into, and then maybe the Career Center. I'll shout out the Career Center as well for any career aspiration. Work at the Career Center.
Yeah, well, I think work at the Career Center, and it's interesting. It comes a little bit full circle, Toby, because we're doing a lot more video editing now than we did when you were here. So
Okay.
we can use as much help as we can get, that's for sure. Um, Toby, were there courses that you took at St. Joe's that really resonate for you, and you think, oh, I'm so glad that I had that, or even was there something that, looking back, you wish you had taken because it would have helped you, early on?
Yeah, there are two courses that come to mind. One is, and I forget, and forgive me if I'm like saying the name of it wrong, like a freshman seminar, like a first year seminar that everyone has to take. I think it was called Work is Our Fire, something like that. And essentially it was Dr. Nelson, and throughout the class we read a book by Al Ginney. And I forget the book, but if you look up his name, hopefully you find the book. But it was essentially just around defining what work means to you in your life, looking at different types of work. So there's something called dirty jobs, and those are really people who are more like plumbing industry, sort of stuff like that. But just defining what work means to you, defining how to find work that fulfills you in life. So I always go back to that class, and I kind of assess in my own life if I'm at a job that fulfills me, if I'm doing work day to day that fulfills me. Another course was my leadership course my freshman year. It was like perspectives on leadership for my Leo minor that I had at the time. But that course was rooted on exactly what it's called, how to be a better leader. And we did a lot of work around self-awareness, how to be a better version of yourself in environments, how to gauge different people's perspectives that go against yours. So I constantly think about that, especially at a company as big as this, such as this, working cross-functionally and understanding different people's perspectives, even when you may not agree with them. It's like necessary when we're working on such big projects to kind of push a subscription service forward. You just need to understand everyone's point of view, regardless if you agree or disagree. So those two courses for sure.
That's great. It sounds like they had a definite impact on you, and you still think about them today, which is
Absolutely.
fantastic. Yeah. Um, for those that are attending, please put questions for Toby into the Q&A. You can do it anonymously if you would like, so that should make it really easy. But we would love to get some questions there. Toby, another question about just your Jesuit education. How has that impacted your work and some of the career decisions that you've made so far?
It did not. No. I it did. I think with the Jesuit education, specifically in the leadership courses that I was mentioning before, a lot of it was based and rooted in putting the person first. And I'm sorry again, I forget all the terminology for it, but like it was like a people forward mindset. And I do very much carry that, like I say, with me every day. I think when we're dealing with company problems, when we're dealing with business strategic problems. I think I always go back to the people in the room, who are we working with? Skill assessment, but like emotional empathetic assessment, across the board. Um, and I kind of like my boss is very she reflects this. She's a woman who leads with empathy, and she carries herself in a way where everyone's opinion is important and it matters. So I think that was very much rooted in a Jesuit education, putting the person first, and coming into environments in a way where everyone feels valued. And I think it's necessary, specifically in business, but everywhere you go.
Yeah, I love that you said that and that you mentioned your boss and your boss having some values that she displays and seems like she lives that are in line with yours. Um, that makes me think a bit about just company culture, right? Which can be from your direct supervisor to, much, much more broad. Can you talk about the company culture at AMC and how it's fit for you and are there things that even um you have come up that maybe you didn't think about beforehand?
Totally. Oh, I think it's I'd say it's a positive company culture overall. I think I've dealt with specific instances, and even getting my promotion now as an associate, it didn't come easy. I think I came in as a coordinator, and then I want to say like 6 to 9 months in, they kind of assessed that I could do more, I could offer more. So I was doing a manager's job for another 10 months. And before they gave me that, they kind of said like, we're going to give you all this manager work. Our manager is gone. We believe in you. You can do it. We're going to quote unquote like evaluate you, but at the end of it, we're just going to make you a manager. Like this is just a formality from HR. So I'm like, I'm doing it. I'm staying late till like 6:30, 7 p.m. every day. I'm just smiling but stressed. And then after that time period ended, they were like, "No, we're actually not going to make you the manager." And I was like, "What? What do you mean? How could you do that?" But there was just there's a lot of different pieces that come into play with the corporation, with how promotions work. But I take that and I say all that to say like I think the company does value you as a person sometimes, and hopefully, but there are many layers and kind of facets to the way things work and to the way you operate within a company to feel like you can come as your truest self and to feel like you're advancing and growing. So I think those are just all things to consider. And AMC Networks as an organization, I think does generally value you as people, but they're still a corporation and they still need to get things done. Even if that comes with making a coordinator a manager and then not giving them the manager job. But I think that just comes with companies.
Toby, how big is the company and how many people kind of do you work with or are on your
Yeah.
team?
I'll speak to my team. So we have a New York office, we have an LA office, and then we have international offices as well. But if you just think it's truly like I call it like a legacy cable operating company. Our AMC channel has been alive for a while, so there's a lot of people in the company. But I think over the past couple years there was consistent layoffs. And I think I mentioned this to you earlier, Scott, before we hopped on just with linear television declines, the company has had to downsize and kind of operate in a way where we're now focused on streaming services like AMC Plus, Netflix, stuff like that. But it's a fairly big company, and on my team specifically, I want to say in the New York office we have around like 10 people. I'm the only associate. We have two managers, like four directors, an EVP that I report directly to, and then we have that same structure on the LA team, um, kind of. But yeah, I want to say like my specific team, we probably have like 10 to 16 people, somewhere around there. Yeah.
So and you just mentioned like linear. So if I'm understanding correctly, that
Yeah.
linear is like somebody goes on to just traditional TV onto the AMC network channel and
Yep.
watches at 9 p.m. when a show comes up
That's correct.
versus the way now that a lot of us watch TV, which is I'm gonna go and it's gonna be content on demand. Yes?
That's correct. Yeah. So for our team, we'll break out kind of our distribution of AMC Networks brands is like linear TV, exactly like you said. People who are still buying cable, so that's like Optimum, Verizon. If you have a cable package that you're paying for, that's linear TV, and we have our AMC channel on those TVs that you can click on with your remote and view. Another side of our business is subscription video on demand, like you described. That's a subscription-based service, AMC Plus. So somebody can go online and just buy AMC Plus and then watch it on their laptop. So those are kind of like the two bigger lanes. There's different nuances amongst all of those that I won't get into, but the two different areas of business that we're mainly focused on these days is our app that we sell, in addition to the other brands, and then our linear TV service, which still makes the bulk of the money, even though more and more people day to day are canceling their cable plans.
And are there up and coming trends? Are there things that we should be on the lookout for? Certainly, if somebody wants to work in an industry like yours or entertainment industry, like what should they really be paying attention to right now?
Yeah, I'd say keep a pulse on bundles, and those are essentially when you can buy two different services at once. So if you see like a deal for get HBO Max, which is now just Max, get Max and Stars for $5.99, and they kind of like they present you this offer and they discount it for you. More and more entertainment companies are trying to craft these bundles for consumers in a way where they feel like they're getting more for their bang for their buck, so they're paying less for two different streaming services. So that's a lot of what we're focused on now. So if we were to bundle with like, let's say a Disney Plus, we get the kind of benefits of all of those users who are normally into Disney Plus content, and then they're also seeing and experiencing the AMC Plus content. So a lot of bundles down the pipeline that we're regularly discussing. A lot of stunting, which is essentially like our content, AMC Plus content, is on Netflix right now. So if you go to Netflix, as you know, most of you probably have, there's like an AMC collection, and you'll see exclusive content to AMC Plus that's flighted. So essentially is available on Netflix for a certain period of time. So Interview with the Vampire, I'll just shout out that show. I love that show. That's an AMC Plus show, is on Netflix right now. So it works where a consumer can watch it on Netflix, discover that first season of the content, and then come back to AMC Plus, hopefully, and buy our service and then remain on our service. So that's a lot of the conversations we're having. How do we get consumers on our platform by exposing them to platforms that they know about already?
Gotcha. Toby, you've recommended that show to me a few times. I think that was
I've,
that was yet another subtle hint that
let's
I should be
go.
trying
We're
it.
please do.
Um, are there any questions? I know we have a few attendees on that Toby can maybe answer for you about the entertainment industry, AMC, his career. We're getting a little bit close to our end time. Toby, can you talk? We didn't really talk at all about interviewing. Um, Interviews that you've been on, or I don't know if you've been in interviews where you've had candidates come in, but what are some tips that you might give to students?
Um, These days, and I don't know how many people feel about this, but like ChatGPT and like AI tools, I'm fully pro those tools, using them. So in regards to like getting ready for an interview, I think it can just speed up the prep process. So in terms of learning about a company, learning about who you're interviewing with, I would just go to ChatGPT and like, give me an overview of the company. Give me an overview of XYZ on this team. What does this team do? What does this team do at other companies? So just in terms of general prep work, I would use AI tools to just get yourself ready. When you're in the physical interview, I think, as you guys probably preach day to day, just coming as your full self, regardless of kind of the networking aspect and, wanting to have an internal hire. I think companies and people still value getting the best person for the job generally. So if you present yourself as your true self, I think you're going to find that you're more aligned when you get a job with a company that actually mirrors your values and what you want out of it. So coming as your full self, but also leveraging these new tools that are coming out so it can speed up that prep process.
Yeah. Hey, Toby, you've mentioned being your authentic self a few times recently, and that really makes sense to me because I felt like you always were exactly that when we were interacting. So
Thank you,
we
Scott.
do have a question. What type of roles do you see yourself in the future based on kind of where you've started and where you want to go?
Yeah, so and like this is also something I said to you before we started, but being at a corporation, I feel ages me. Being at a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, I feel old. So I've been recently pouring a lot into my personal projects. So I just wrote a short film that this year I'm planning to produce and film, and I've been like working on short films on the side. So I don't know if I necessarily want to. I do. I think eventually I'll just answer the question and not go into a tangent. Segue my job into like a full-time production role where I'm like on set producing films and TV, which I think was the dream for a while. But as I pour more into my personal projects, I see it more clearly. So I think that that's kind of the route that I'm heading towards, especially as I pick up and hopefully film these projects on the side. Selling them to companies, I think is kind of my route as well. And I think it's also just like a beautiful holistic picture because I started interning with creative, facets of the industry and editing roles. I majored in like marketing business side of the world, and then I ended up in a job that's very distribution and strategy based. So in my head, I've learned so much about the full 360-degree life cycle of a film and of TV. So I think it's equipped me to then in my next role, hopefully be like a one-man producing team, make my own film and then sell it to a company. So that's kind of what I see for myself at this point.
Well, that sounds fantastic, and it also like that was a big thing you just told us there. Like, I want to know a little bit more if you can share. Like, what is the film that you've written, and kind of. I mean, it sounds like this is a passion project for you.
Totally, totally. It's a 10-minute short film. I wrote it between last summer through last October. I think I put the pen down. And it was based on a real life experience. It's essentially a couple is facing a hardship in their relationship. One person seeks therapy to figure out what went wrong, but then they also discover that their understanding of love is actually based in trauma. So kind of heavy. It's kind of like a coming of age story, but also like a little bit of romance in it. But yeah, it very much was a passion project. It didn't start as a script. It started as me just writing down my thoughts. But then I was like, wait, this is a dialogue. This is two people talking. This is something that I can actually make. And I know like a ton of film people, like DPs and people on cameras. And so, yeah, I just committed myself to actually making it a tangible project. And that's where I'm going so far. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm right there with Lisa. Lisa wrote amazing, Toby. Can't wait to see it. I feel
Thank you.
exactly the same way. So that's exciting stuff. All right, well, I think we're getting close to the end of our time. Toby, any kind of last, piece of advice for students?
I'll say uh trust in what you want to do. And wherever or whatever point you're at, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, take the time to really dive into everything, see what you don't like, see what you like, try and get internship experience. I think that's where I was able to, like I said earlier, really be in that 9 to 5, 40-hour a week environment for the first time. So understanding what that does for you mentally, if that's where you want to be, if you'd rather do freelance contract work, but understanding what you actually love and what you want to do for work and not just what you majored in and kind of what other people are pushing you to do what you really want to do. Because I think now and with the job market and all of these things that are, amidst, you should really just pour into yourself. You should really pour into what you're passionate about and what you love. So I just encourage people to do that and find what they actually do love because it's out there. So
Fantastic advice. Thank you so much, Toby. Thank you for being here with us today, providing these insights into your career. I definitely hope to see you back on Hawk Hill sometime soon. That would be wonderful. As a reminder, Alumni Takeover Week continues later today. We have an in-person guest, Ryan Hammond, who will be in Doyle South. She's our only in-person guest. And then we've got some alums tomorrow and Friday as well. So I hope everybody has a great day. And Toby, again, thank you.
thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Lisa, Trish, Kaylee. Thank you, all of you. Again, it feels like I'm back home. I appreciate you guys so much.